Spartan Nation, what's going on? This is Ken, the super cool Spartan, here with Quapo, the super connected Spartan, our co-host, Brian, the super mad Spartan. He's doing his usual production role here tonight. We have a very classic super Spartan classic series here. We have the coaches, the head coaches for the men and women's soccer team here. We coined this one the football interview, the football episode here. So, Quafa, I want you to introduce your fellow Spartans here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great show, doing it, in the off season of football. There is more than one football played on the banks of the Red Cedar. These two gentlemen lead very powerful programs within our fine university. On my right, we have Damon RENSLING, head men's soccer coach at Michigan State for how many years now, Damon? Is it 10, 12?
16, actually.
16! 16 years, but who's counting? 16. and had a storied career before that as a player here at MSU. So 16 years there on the men's side. And then my left on my screen, we have Coach Jeff HOSLER, Big Ten champion, deep tournament runs in the NCAA, all around solid guy, also East Lansing product as well. Coach HOSLER, you're going into your 5th season here at MSU.
That's right.
I got that one right. All right. We're off to a good start.
That's the first introduction right there, right off the top, to just let everybody know how much you're in Damon. That's first one right there.
Well, we do appreciate having you guys on. We want to shed light on your programs. We're all Spartans. The last episode of the show last week was on basketball, but we're Spartans through and through, just like you guys are. We really want to give you a chance to highlight your programs and the work you're doing, to kind of put Michigan State in the front, especially in a sport that almost every corner of America, there's people playing soccer at this point. It has grown leaps and bounds, probably from back when both of you played in your careers and then. So it's a great opportunity and a great platform. I'm happy you're with us here, on a kind of spring night here. Ken, you want to start with the first question for either of our guests?
Yes. I'll start with I'll start with Jeff here. What makes the women's soccer program unique compared to other programs here in the conference, and maybe just in general?
Yeah, I think we've put together a really, really great product. I think our style of play really is set us apart. We're very possession-oriented, attacking-minded. But to be honest with you, Ken, a big part of it is as we started to have some success and people started turning out, what it's done in this community and the environment that's been created at DeMartin Stadium. Both the men and the women have been top 5 in attendance the last few years. Incredible crowds. The environment that's created both by the Red Cedar Rowdies, our students, and just people in the community, to see people like Quaffo coming out for a tailgate and going over to the game, and people in the neighborhood. And, it just means a little bit more, I think, not to take another conference's motto, but it's something that I think we're creating really a special environment, and it's an experience for people to go to. It's not just about soccer. It's not just about women's soccer. It's about everybody kind of coming out and having an experience. And I think that's what we can provide.
Okay. Same question to you, Damon. What makes the men's soccer program so unique in this conference and to other ones?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of Jeff, I think part of the things is Jeff's grown up in this community and has been a community person for his whole life. And I've been in this community for almost 25 years now, 10 as an assistant and 16 as a head coach. So the soccer community has grown, and we've been a part of that, both of us. And so to see the community support has been incredible. And if you haven't been out to DeMartin, it's just such a neat little atmosphere. The attendance is awesome. We've got a cool student section, the Red Cedar Rowdies, which was started back in 2000. 11, I believe. They've got green and white smoke bombs and go crazy when the girls and guys score. So that's really cool. One of the things that's really unique about the men's program, we've certainly had some successes, but interesting enough, there's only been 2 head coaches in the last 48 years. So over a half a century, it's been, head coach Joe Baum, who still lives in Okemos for 32 years, and then myself for 16. So we've got a really tight alumni group. We're doing some fundraising right now, and I actually just looked at my phone. I think I had about 100 different alums on my contact information. So it's a fun group. They're really supportive, and I think that separates us, when it not just for guys who are trying to be pro soccer players, but when they graduate and go out into the real world, they've got all these soccer alum connections in all kinds of different fields that they can go be a part of.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. And, as you guys were talking, I was just thinking that, whatever that we can do here at Q the Woodshed to support you guys, let us know, because we are expanding outside of, just football. We want to support all of our, Spartan sports here. So whatever we can do to shine light on both you guys' programs, just let us know and we'll make it happen for you.
I'm thinking there could be a tailgate show. We could do a tailgate show if there's a doubleheader between both programs. We'll get into that. We'll get into that later. So my question is for Damon. Damon, without giving away your secrets, because we know other schools may be watching this, especially that school down the road. What's your approach to recruiting? Like, what are your tactics? Like, how do you go about recruiting? And then what Damon's done, Jeff, the same question for you on the recruiting side.
Well, the state of Michigan has excellent soccer throughout the youth. It's in my opinion, one of the top 10 states in the country for boys soccer. So we start there. My take is, I don't know if we could win a Big Ten or national championship with just Michigan players, but I know that we can't win it without them being the core of our team. And so in 2018, when we went to the Final Four, with actually DeJuan Jones was one of the starters from East Lansing High. We had 7 starters from the state of Michigan, 2 from Chicago and 1 from Indiana. So when you have that, to me, that's been awesome. It creates a really good culture, a really good team chemistry. And the guys, when they go play outside of the state of Michigan, they're not just playing for Michigan State, they're playing for state of Michigan soccer and Midwest soccer, and that's a point of pride for sure.
For sure. Jeff, same question to you.
Yeah, I would lean on a big part of that. I've watched Damon and what he's done with the men's team. I've seen the roadmap for all the successes they've built. On the women's side, it's not much different, with a lot of really talented players, talented club teams here in the state. It's definitely a bedrock for the foundation of our team as well. As we've had some really good years of late, we've been able to go and get teams or kids from across the country, from Phoenix, from California, which are 2 soccer hotbeds. We have 4 kids now on our roster from Canada that play for the national team there at various age groups. We form a really strong relationship there. Toronto's not too far away, and Toronto and Montreal on the women's side are incredible. And so we've really hit those areas hard and targeted that. They're used to the weather. That's not a huge adjustment for them. They're actually coming south. I get to say that very often because obviously our counterparts on a national scale, on the ACC and SEC are having a very different storyline. So I think that's really important for us. I know it's the same with the men. They've got several players that have had national team experience. We're striving, we've had at the youth level. We're striving to have kids that achieve that at the full national team level. But at the same time, those are the kids everybody wants. I'm sure Damon would tell you the same thing. We walk up to a field, we all know who the best player is on the field. Everybody's going after that kid. You're not going to miss the evaluation on those kids. It's how good you're going to be at effectively, using a general term, picking up the 3 stars, like Mark D'Antoni used to say. Can you recruit all of the best 3 stars with the right attributes and turn them into 5 stars while they're here? And I think there's an element of that has to happen to be successful.
Without a doubt. Ken, I think the next one's for you, my guy.
Yes. And before I get to that question, I was going to say, Jeff, it's very interesting that when you guys talk about recruiting, because I guess being so used to following the football program so closely that, they're talking about recruiting, to your point, Damon, here in primarily like the state of Michigan and Ohio, some of the hotbeds across the country. But to hear you guys, especially you, Jeff, talk about recruiting like internationally, I mean, that's kind of like, wow, that's kind of like mind blowing to me because, again, just being used to following more like football and basketball, because of course, those are the main programs that most people follow. To hear you talk about going to Montreal and all these other places outside of the States, that's very fascinating.
51st state. It's just a 51st state. So.
Oh,
I had to do it. You just teed it up. Move it along.
Hey, Jeff, maybe we can start getting tuition waivers and our in-state tuition for the.
That's true. Let's be honest something. Let's start thinking about it.
That and NIL. That NIL.
I can't get us back on track. It was just too easy. It was just laying there. It was like a free ball, like right there. It was really shot. It was easy. All right, go ahead, Ken. Get us back on track.
So my question is, and Jeff, I'll start with you with this one. What kind of synergy do you, as soccer coaches, do you have with other coaches, in the other programs, football, basketball, baseball, track? Is there a lot of synergy between the different programs at Michigan State amongst the coaches?
There really is. I think that's one thing. You talk about unique or things that set people apart. When I interview for this job and I talk to people, that's the thing that kept coming back was people talking about the people and how special they were here at Michigan State and in this community. Obviously, growing up in it, you see it from afar. I did not go to Michigan State University. I was nowhere good enough as an athlete to play here. But then to come back and hear about the connections, the people, how much they care for each other, they care about Michigan State, they care about this community. And I think that synergy translates across what we do in the athletic department. We talk about our sellout crowds and our attendance records and being top 5 in attendance. I know for sure Izzo and his squad was out 2 times this fall.
Okay.
They're out there dancing with Sparty, getting our Red Cedar Rowdies going. I think the same for Damon's games. Football has come in routinely to stop. At least the head coach has come in to watch a game or watch a half or watch a few moments to just say hello and show face and show support that way. Robin Freilich and the women's basketball team are frequent at our games, as is volleyball. I go right down the list.
Okay.
I think on the women's side, we've done a really cool thing with the way that we room student athletes together. So we partnered with gymnastics and field hockey and softball. So when our freshmen come in, it's one of each in the dorm. Their roommates are from other sports to get to know each other a little bit that way. Our kids would love to be with each other, but they're with each other pretty much all the time anyway. So to be able to have somebody else to go home to, hang out with, hear what's going on in their program, share the same stories of how they have to build resilience or the successes they have and share it within our programs, I think it's been really special. And that's really translated a lot with us in gymnastics, as many of them chose to live together after their freshman year. So gymnastics, Skylar Schulte, Gabby Stevens in my office almost every day, giving us a big smile, a high five, a hug, having a little bit of banter, which is a really cool environment. And then above and beyond that, Damon, I don't know, it's in the last 3 years, there's been a day that's gone by when we're both there. We haven't stopped in and we're talking to each other, whether it's work or not. So to have that kind of support too built in, we're the same, we play the same sport, but it is not the same sport in a lot of ways. But we are both head coaches in it. And we're in the same season. And I think that's something that's really cool. I know Damon's someone I can turn to and come in and shut the door and I can get some things off my chest. And I think he can do the same. And you need a safe space to be able to do that sometimes because it's a stress. Being a head coach is hard. It's not easy. And you need to have that support. So, Ken, a long-winded answer for you. There's a lot of
I love it. I love it.
But I think that's something that makes this place really special and is going to continue to do that.
Same to you, Damon.
Yeah, I agree. I think a couple things like that. Totally reiterate what Jeff said with us just in soccer. We love, all the staffs. Jeff and I have our moments together in the office where we're either laughing or cussing or celebrating or high-fiving or whatever, but we go through all the emotions. And then our staffs are interacting too, and we do camps together, and So there's a really good synergy just between the men's and women's soccer programs. And then I think what's cool is, you got about 700 athletes, and they're all striving for excellence. So, I mean, you could walk down in the Michigan State Athletic Department, and you could have, Jace Richardson, who might be a first-round draft pick. You might have a golfer that just won the amateur and is qualifying for the Masters. You might have a women's soccer player who got called into the Olympic team. So you have all these players playing different sports, but they're striving for the same thing, and that's to use Michigan State, use the resources, and be the best possible student athlete that they can be. And to me, that's contagious. That's infectious. Not to mention, obviously, the football players and those guys. So when you have all that combined, it's awesome. I mean, I think I got to give a lot of credit with some of this to Coach Izzo, too. I mean, when you got a head coach who, shows up at just about every head coaches meeting, how many other big-time basketball coaches come into our head coaches meeting and talk? And I'll just give one quick story. Back in 2010, we started out gangbusters. We were top 5 in the country for soccer. We were flying, and all of a sudden towards the end, we lost like 4 of our last 5 games, and got knocked out early in the Big Ten tournament. And I'm on the bus home from Penn State, and I'm thinking, man, we're in the NCAA tournament. How do I get this right? I'm in my second year as a head coach. I'm like, is there anybody that knows how to turn things around in the NCAA tournament that I could call, And then it hits me, well, you got probably the best one in it right next door. So I call Coach Izzo. I'm a 35-year-old head coach, and say, hey, can I pick your brain? And he's like, come on in, man. And we sat there for 30 minutes and shot it. And the one thing I learned from him is he does a lot of individual meetings with the guys in that crunch time when the pressure's on, and his relationship with the players is so important. I think Jeff, probably with his success, would agree with those types of things. And so we bounced ideas around, and next thing you know, we beat an undefeated Butler team to go to the Sweet 16. We're in Indianapolis, and the phone rings, and the basketball team's in Maui. They're in Maui getting ready, and it's Coach Izzo, and he says, hey, man, congrats, man. Way to get to the Sweet 16. I'm proud of you. So how many other coaches do that kind of stuff? And if you got the basketball coach doing it to men's soccer or golf or these sports, we're going to do it and turn it and do the same thing for everybody. So he sets that example, and he's awesome.
Right. And, one thing I was going to say is that just listening to you guys, and I'm just speaking from a fans perspective, because what Q the Witch said, our representation is just from as fans. And, I have, and Coffee, you probably heard it too, just like reading different articles and talking to former athletes, that there is a real camaraderie, like family, like atmosphere at Michigan State, just speaking amongst, of all of the sports programs. And I think it comes off really authentic, because I've spoken to former athletes, as we say now, the team from like down the road, or maybe, across state lines somewhere. And you don't hear that type of conversations or dialogue, some of the other programs in the conference. So to both your guys' point, I think that's one unique thing about Michigan State is the synergy, amongst the different sports programs. And I think that, that spills to us as fans overall of all the sports. So I just wanted to throw a little nugget in there.
It's definitely family time.
Before you go, Quapo, I have one question for both coaches. So you guys said when you guys get into, you have your closed door meetings sometimes, you guys talk about Quapo?
I mean, I
don't have to close the door to talk about Quaffle.
No. Most of the people would already know. So yes, no closed door meetings. There may be after this episode, but no closed door meetings.
That damn Quaffle did it again.
He did it again. Exactly.
You can't see Jeff and I's wrist, but we got the WWKD. Wristbands. What would Quaffo do? And he's, I'm on the bench at halftime. We're down 2-0, and I'm like, man, what would Quaffo
do? I know. It's a hard act to follow. I know, guys. I know. Well, quick question, deviating from our list for both. I'll start with Damon and go to Jeff. So, David, I mean, you've had success here. It's been a long run. What is the one or two things you think you need to do to bring home a national championship to the Banks of Red Cedar? And I'll ask Jeff the same question.
I think it's a little bit of timing and just getting everything together at the right time. You can see teams peak. I mean, like I said, in 2018, we went to the Final Four. We actually were struggling a little bit with a really talented group. So first, it starts with recruiting. You got to get the players in there. And I think we're starting to get that again. B, you got to get the culture right. And I do think being around other teams within the department really help. And the other thing that I think is really going to help us is this new Big Ten. I mean, we play so many different styles of team. It's similar to what you see in basketball or football, where, you know, you're going to be prepared for the NCAA tournament. We get to the NCAA tournament, you know, I'm like, guys, this is like our 14th biggest game of the year. Like, what are we afraid of here? We've played at UCLA. We've played at Maryland. We played home in front of 4,000 in Indiana, Michigan. Like, we're ready. So those things. And then obviously you need a little luck and you need the ball to bounce your way. But you get a little timely scoring and great goalkeeping and defense. You can, I feel confident we can do it.
Awesome. And Jeff, same for you. You've gotten Big Tens. You've gone deep in the tournament. What's going to be the one or two things needed to bring home a national championship on the women's side?
I don't know that my answer is going to be much different than Damon's. I'll tell you, I would love to be a host of a second, third round and not have to go on the road. The last 2 years, we've had to go on the road to the number one overall seed in those rounds, and that makes a load of difference, especially when you're talking about a BYU and elevation, being out there for 5 days, 6 days it was. That makes a difference. So we got to do a better job of securing some results to make sure we're in a position to put us as a 1 or 2 seed. I think playing at home in East Lansing, I would love to see a West Coast team have to come and play at DeMartin in November.
One of that
kind of crowd.
Yeah.
You know, we have, last year we went out west to Washington, Oregon for Big Ten play. We play UCLA and USC, which are two juggernauts in our sport. But they come to East Lansing, of course, the first weekend in September, second weekend in September. Maybe it'll be cold summer. It'll be 80 degrees. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, I don't know that I have a whole lot different to Damon's answer other than I'd like to see us be in a better position when it comes to seeding and matchups a little bit, because I think that stuff will definitely matter. But I do think it's possible. And with the challenges we see in the Big Ten right now, there are 4 teams in the Big Ten that have won national championships before. And there's no reason to think that at some point we can't do that here in East Lansing.
Love it. Ken, you want to hit him with a rapid fire?
Yes, yeah. So we'll get you both out of here on this. There's a couple rapid fire questions. You know, these questions are not related to sports or anything, just to get to know you guys a little better here. So, what are your favorite eateries around campus?
Woody's Oasis, Lou and Harry's. I eat Lou and Harry's 3 times a week. I'm there all the time. Just like I was in high school. I eat there at lunch for open campus at East Lansing High School. I'm still doing it now at 44. You know, yeah, I smash Lou and Harry's.
What about you, Damon? What's your favorite eatery around campus?
2 good ones for sure, but I'll tell you this. Before that March 9th noon tip-off with MSU Michigan, I'll be at Beggar's Banquet having a Bloody Mary and getting ready for the game. And I've never been there, but I've heard this place called Sidebar is a pretty good place too. So those are my 2 favorite haunts.
Okay.
That's inside baseball, Ken. Inside baseball.
Okay. All right.
When you guys come up, we'll take you there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
What are your favorite TV shows to watch when you guys have downtime? What your favorite TV shows to watch?
I kind of, with the season, it goes crazy. So I'm not hardly watching anything. And then I kind of binge. I just finished Landman. That was pretty wild and crazy. And The Agency.
Okay.
I like those 2. But other than that, not a ton other than live sports. I love live sports.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time I'm just really locked into Cue the Woodshed. I make sure that I keep 30 minutes.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Not always watching, but I do what I can. I have all these other subscriptions I pay for, and Paramount and HBO Plus and everything. Apple Plus, all that. But it's just, it comes back to Cue the Woodshed. I'm a sucker for a good podcast.
Love it.
Yes, sir. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Oh,
so, what are your favorite professional soccer players you guys like to watch, men or women?
So number one for me, Damon mentioned him earlier. My favorite players is DeJuan Jones.
Okay.
An East Nancy kid playing in the MLS, starring in the MLS, has had several opportunities now with the men's full national team. And just a really cool, just salt of the earth person, super humble, amazing human being. So being a supporter of his is real easy to do. That's my number one right there. I know it's on the men's side, but I got a big heart for DeJuan Jones.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Great family, great. I mean, Damon knows him well. Obviously, recruited him, played for him. Just an amazing human being. I watched him grow up. So yeah, ditto on.
If I could expand beyond that, I've had some incredible players here, and I've got some playing in NWSL right now. That Ava Cook was a player for me at Grand Valley State before she transferred in with me my first year. Believed in me, wanted to take the jump. Ended up getting drafted early second round, and is now entering her third year in the pros with Chicago Stars.
Nice.
And about to have one of our players that just graduated become her teammate. It's not public yet, so I can't say who or what, but it's going to be fun to have two kids playing professionally right down the street in Chicago.
Awesome.
And one of the top three leagues in the world.
Awesome. What about you, Damon?
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll start with DeJuan. Obviously, he's awesome, and great teammate. Fun. A quick little story. We're up 1-0 at halftime, and right before halftime, and I'm trying to sub DeJuan off, and I'm trying to stall the game, and he comes running off, and I wanted him to. I'm like, hey, slow down, and I'm like, hey, we're just trying to get to halftime. He said, hey, my teammate there, he doesn't get much playing time, man. I just want to get him some ticks, and I was like, you know what, I got time for that. Here you got a guy who's looking out for his teammates, who's an all Big Ten caliber player and national team. And he plays just down the road at Columbus too. So if you guys are looking to support an East Lansing homegrown, head down to Columbus. It's a fun environment and an awesome stadium. So it starts there with me. And then, Christian Pulisic, who's I always root for the American kids. He's playing over for AC Milan in Italy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's tearing it up. He's really, really doing well and fun to watch.
Seems like he found a home with Milan. He was in the EPL for a while, and it seems like he's got a home over there. So I just want to say,
you guys coordinated like, well, there's no way you knew that off the top. Damon,
yes, there is, Jeff.
lay out, little alley-oop. Come on.
That was LeBron Wade alley-oop right there. But I do follow the EPL, my friends. That's why we have this show today, guys. But I do, before we wrap up, just want to thank both you, Damon and Jeff. I know you guys personally. I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy recruiting even, in the off season. So thank you so much for joining us at Cue the Woodshed. Any parting words, Damon, for you?
Just love to see everybody out in DeMartin. I agree with your early sentiments. I think there might be a doubleheader this year with the women, and come tailgate in Jennison parking lot and take in a really, really fun, cool environment. Games don't last more than 2 hours. You're in and out with fam. There's a practice field right behind it. The little kids are running around, kicking balls on that, and it's just an awesome, awesome time for the community.
Yeah, I think the family sentiment that we hear consistently is, it kind of feels like the old Friday night football games. The community's out, everyone's running around. It's safe. Your kids are out playing, doing their own thing. In addition to those people that want to watch the soccer, there's some incredible soccer going. And as Damon and I talked about this conference that we're in, you're seeing players that are going to be future pros or going to be on national teams later and become those household names that are right here on the field in front of us. So it's one of those things you can always say, like, oh yeah, I remember I saw him play at DeMartin, or I saw him play during his time at DeMartin, which makes it really, really cool. So guys, this show having us on, I think is another great representation of what makes Spartans really, really great. Elite when it comes to who we are, who we serve, and what we are. And so appreciate the time, asking us to come on, and appreciate you guys putting spotlight on Michigan State athletics as always.
Always going to do that. It sounds like Ken and Brian, we might have a road show for Cue the Woodshed when they do the doubleheader. It seems like we're going to be podcasting from the parking lot of DeMartin, I think.
That sounds really cool.
Next time, if any of you have me on, I want a nickname like one of y'all.
Okay. You got it, Jeff. We're going to think one for you and Damon. All right, for real. We got you guys.
Just none like Baldy or like anything like that. Nothing like that. I'm not cool, but you can make me a cool nickname. That'd be awesome.
We'll think of some cool names for both you guys. We'll think of some cool names for both you guys. And like you said, Quaffle, we got to do the doubleheader thing. Take the show on the road here because. As I was saying, we want to highlight all of our, all of the sports here, so let's make it happen.
Exactly. All right.
Well, all right. Thank you guys for coming on here. And, this is another cool edition of the classic Spartan series here. Cue the Woodshed. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. Quaffle, the super connected Spartan. Jeff Hosler, Damon RENSLING, the super duper connected soccer coaches.
You got to workshop that. That's not going to work. No, to workshop that. We'll try.
Next time, we'll think of some cooler things to say next time. We got you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
guys. All right. Go Green.
Go White.